Hi guys, welcome to Masombula Tutorials. My name is Vusi, my surname is Mkonto. So I'm a student at University of Venda and I'm a language specialist. So today, as it is our introductory tutorial, we are going to delve on English language usage as well as structure. So we are going to accommodate grade 12s. So those that are doing HL and INFAL. So initially, we are going to delve on literal language and figurative language. So literal language, it is the exact language spoken, the exact meaning of something, while figurative language, it is a non-literal language which is having different meanings for one thing. And then when furthering figurative language has to do with many different meanings on one thing which are hidden. That is why we say it is a figurative language. So figurative language is not figurative language without the usage of figures of speech. Some they say word classes. So now we are going to analyze and look as well as identifying the figures of speech or parts of speech that we have in English language. So we are having two categories in terms of word classes or parts of speech. We're having primary parts of speech and we're having secondary parts of speech. So we are going to start with primary parts of speech with number one, a simile or a simile. Number two, it is a metaphor. And then number three, we have a personification. And then what is a simile? A simile, it is a figure of speech that has to do with a comparison. So meaning that a figure of speech that compares two things using the comparing words like as and than. And then a metaphor, it is a figure of speech that compares two things, but now they attempt to make a connection between same aspects of the two things that are compared. An example of a simile, we are having one sentence. So I'm going to make these two examples with this one sentence where it reads thus: Jacob is like a rat. Jacob is like a rat. We said under a simile, we are having comparing words like, as, and what, and than. So in this sentence, we are saying Jacob is like a rat, meaning that when we see the comparing word like, it is a simile. But in terms of a metaphor, they say Job or Jacob is a rat. They are not saying Jacob is like. They say Jacob is a rat. Personification, it is a specific type of a metaphor where a non-human thing is given human qualities or human characteristics. So, for an example, the shy moon hid behind the clouds. The shy moon hid behind the clouds. We usually say people are shy. The girl is shy, the boy is shy, the child is shy. Not a moon. A moon is a non-human thing. That is why we personify the moon to have a quality of a person or a human. Another example, we can say the sun is smiling. We all know that the sun doesn't smile or does not smile. So usually human beings that are smiling. And then we are going straight to secondary figures of speech. We are having number one, a contrast. They say a contrast, it is whereby we distinguish or we differentiate between two things. So when you are contrasting, you are comparing two things. You are distinguishing between two things in terms of their qualities, in terms of how they work, in terms of how we see them, like that and like that. And then an irony, some they say irony. An irony, it is the figure of speech in which the intended meaning is the opposite of the expressed, meaning that in irony or in irony, you expect something as it is intended, but at the end you see something that was not expressed. An irony, it is categorized into two, or we are having two types of ironies. We are having the situational irony as well as the dramatic irony. The situational irony is whereby you expect something to happen, but the exact opposite happens. That's a situational irony. You expect something to happen, but the opposite of that something you're expecting, it happens. The opposite. And then the objective irony. The objective irony, actually, it is used in literature. A story, a drama, a novel, like that and like that. So a dramatic irony, it's when the audience has more information, at least than one of the characters. When the audience has many information than at least one characters in the play, the audience is aware of something that one of the characters doesn't know or is not aware of. And then we go straight to sarcasm. It is a form, they are saying it is a form of verbal irony that is meant to be hurtful or embarrassing. If I can make an example about a sarcasm, your teacher can say, well done, Vusi, you got 5% out of 100%. It portrays sarcasm because it doesn't mean what your teacher or my teacher is saying. So it is the opposite way. When saying that, it sounds as if he or she is congratulating me, but that sentence, it is embarrassing. Going straight to euphemism. Euphemism, it is a neutral or an inoffensive or ineffective word phrase that is used in the place of a word or a phrase that is embarrassing. Like if you can say, Dennis left his wife Samgele as she found out that she was sleeping with Jerome. Actually, verb sleeping represents having sex, but they didn't say they have sex or they had sex, but they said sleeping. It's a way of conveying respect. That is why in Siswati we say inhlonipho. Euphemism. Then we're going straight to rhetorical questions or a rhetorical question. It uses a structure of a question while it is a statement, meaning that this kind of a question must not be answered. It's a rhetorical question. It is also used in literature, mostly in a poem. Yeah, it is mostly used in poetry. And then let's discuss or let's introduce literature and the rules or aspects that are in literature, which is usually paper 2 in grade 12. In literature, initially we are going to discuss characters. What are characters? Obviously, characters are the people that we meet in the story. The author, it is the one that imagines characters and then employs them in the story, give them certain rules in the story so to portray certain characterization. And then they can say you need to compare two characters, or you need to compare characters in the story. When comparing characters, you compare the characters, or you compare those characters based on their behavior, based on their intellectual or their intelligence, based on their identity and other things. You compare those characters in terms of the aspects that I was listing. We are also having types of characters. We are having a protagonist, which is the main character, and an antagonist. A protagonist, it is the main character, as I've just said. When identifying the main character, it is that character who is associated with each and every, or let me say, many events that are happening in the story. You can see that this one, it is our protagonist or the main character. And then the antagonist, obviously the antagonist, it is the opposite of protagonist. The antagonist, it is the character that opposes the main character. I don't know if I'm making sense. And then for an example, in the drama My Children, My Africa, our main character, it is Thamimbikwana. And then the one who opposes each and everything that Thamimbikwana is doing, it is Mr. Anela Nyaladia, or Mr. M. So Mr. M, it is the protagonist. And then now we are going to the setting of the story. When discussing a setting of the story, it is the time, the place, or the societal era that the story is taking place. And then we are having the plot. So the plot, what is a plot? A plot is a series of events happening in the story. As you know that we are having the introduction, we are having the rising action, we are having the climax, we are having the resolution or the following action, and then lastly we have the conclusion. Right. So during the introduction, that is where they introduce, or what, that is where the writer or the author introduces his or her characters. And that is where the main character or the protagonist, it is introduced as well. And then the narrator's point of view. Let's look at the narrator's point of view. Remember, we are having many narration styles that we have in literature. And initially, we need to know what is a narrator. A narrator is someone or the person who tells the story. The narrator of a story can be the writer, can be one of the characters in the story. So that is what we are going to focus on now. Number one, we are going to look at the first person narration style. In the first person narration style, it is the narration style, or now the story, it is narrated by one of the characters that are in the story. I'm saying first person narration style. It is the narration style whereby the story, or whereby the story, it is narrated by one of the characters that are in the story. That in that narration style, the narrator mostly uses I or me, my. That's where you can see that this story, it is narrated in the first person narration style. And another thing, when the first person narrator tells more about the story or narrates the story, he or she will narrate the story based on his thoughts, based on his or her experience. And then we are going to the second narration style, which is the third person narration style. So now the narrator does not use I, me, or my in the story. That is the sign. And then the third person narration style, it is also categorized into three. We are having the third person omniscient narrator. We are also having the third person objective narrator. And then lastly, we have the third person limited narrator. So let's go to the first person omniscient narrator. So the first person omniscient narrator, they're saying this narrator knows what happened in all the events that were happening in the story. And then another thing, in the third person narration style, this narrator knows how characters feel and think. The narrator is aware of the feelings of the other characters in the story. And then going to the third person objective narrator, now the narrator also knows what happened in all the events that were taking place in the story, but not how the characters feel. So in this narration style, the narrator doesn't know how the characters feel, doesn't know how the characters think. This is the third person narration style that is objective. And then the limited third person narration style, it is where now the narrator tells the story from the point of view of one character. So in this narration style, the focus is on one character, how the character thinks, how the character feels. The main focus is on one character. And then we are going to the theme. What is a theme? A theme can be an idea or a message that is conveyed through and through the story, from the introduction up until to the conclusion. And then going to the mood of the story. What is a mood? A mood of the story, it is the text's emotional atmosphere. It is the text's emotional atmosphere that the author creates. Meaning that the mood, it is created by the person who writes the story, which is the author or the writer. So the writer creates the mood of the story by using figurative language. And we said under figurative language, we have figures of speech. So there's a usage of figurative language there. And then we are going to the message of the story. The message of the story, it is what the author intends to teach the readers. Some say the lesson. It is the lesson that you get from reading that text you've read. The subject of the message can be a complex subject or a complex message, but the readers have the ability to simplify the message based on their different perspectives. So in conclusion, I will share the notes about this clip. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and follow for the next clip.